A presidential system of government is a form of government in which the president acts as the head of the executive branch. In this system, like executive and the legislature work separately from each other, the president leads the government and performs executive functions independently of the legislature. This system follows the principle of separation of powers, where different branches of government have a separate roles and responsibilities. About presidential system. A presidential system of government is a system in which the president is both the head of state and head of government. The president leads the executive branch and works independently from the legislature. In this system, the president is usually elected by the people for a fixed term and is not directly responsible to the legislature. The legislature normally cannot remove the president from office except through a special process called impeachment. This system is followed in countries such as the United States. It is different from a parliamentary system of government where the head of government is chosen by the legislature. Some countries follow a mixed or hybrid system known as the semi-presidential system, which combines features of both systems. Examples include France and Poland. Presidential system of government types. Pure presidential system. In this system, the president is both the head of state and head of government and hold most of the executive powers. The president is usually directly elected by the people for a fixed term and works independently from the legislature. Example: United States, Brazil, Argentina, Kenya, and Turkey. Semi-presidential system. In this system, executive power is shared between the president and the prime minister. The president acts as the head of state and is generally elected by the people, while the prime minister acts as the head of government and manages the day-to-day administration. Example: France, Sri Lanka, Ukraine, and Portugal. Presidential system of government features. President as the real executive. In this system, the president is the real executive authority. He acts as both the head of state and head of government and leads the administration. Separation of powers. The presidential system is based on the principle of separation of powers. The executive, legislature, and judiciary work independently and perform different functions. Systems of checks and balances. Although the three branches are separate, they check and balance each other to prevent misuse of power. Fixed tenure of the president. The president is elected for a fixed term and cannot be removed by the legislature through a vote of no confidence. Removal is possible only through impeachment in special circumstances. Independent executive. The executive branch works independently of the legislature. The president and his ministers are not members of the legislature and are not directly responsible to it. Cabinet as an advisory body. The president is assisted by a cabinet of secretaries or ministers who are appointed by him. They mainly act as advisors and are responsible only to president. No requirement of political majority in the cabinet. Members of the cabinet do not necessarily have to belong to the same political party or be members of the legislature. Clear distribution of powers. The system clearly defines the roles of the executive and the legislature, which helps maintain transparency and accountability in governance. Presidential system of government significance. Stable government. The president is elected for a fixed term, so the government does not fall easily. This provides political stability and continuity in policies. Strong and decisive leadership. Since executive powers are concentrated in one person, the president can take quick and firm decisions, especially during crises or emergencies. Separation of powers. The system is based on separation of powers where the executive, legislature, and judiciary function independently. This helps prevent concentration of power in one branch. System of checks and balances. Each branch can check the actions of the others, which helps prevent misuse of authority and protects democratic values. Direct accountability to the people. In many presidential systems, the president is directly elected by the people, which increases public accountability and legitimacy of the government. Suitable during emergencies. Because the president is both head of state and head of government, decisions can be taken quickly and efficiently in situations like war, economic crisis, and disasters. Appointment of experts. The president can appoint qualified professional or expert as secretaries or ministers without being limited to members of the legislature. Policy continuity. Since the government does not depend on legislative majority for survival, policies can be implemented consistently without frequent political instability. Presidential system of government. Major demerits. Possibility of authoritarian rule. Since the president has significant powers and a fixed tenure, there is a risk of misuse of authority or authoritarian tendencies. Deadlock between executive and legislature. As the executive and legislature are independent, conflicts between them may lead to policy paralysis or legislative gridlock. Limited accountability to the legislature. The president and the cabinet are not directly responsible to the legislature, which reduces legislative control over the executive. Rigid system. The president serves for a fixed term, so it is difficult to remove an ineffective leader before the term ends. Difficulty in passing laws. If the legislature does not support the president, passing important laws and policies become difficult.